Hello everyone, it is me Evil, and welcome to my video going over the patch notes, my bad, that have recently at 4 AM for me, they come out. This is for the beta, so no changes to the main branch of the game, these are like experimental changes. And let's just read through it, Hey Slayers, we've got another beta patch for you all this week. Notably, this patch brings in some structural work for a system called batches. So batches are something new. Batches may appear at the end of a run, noting various things that happened during a run, like defeating a boss without losing HP, beating the game quickly, specific Easter eggs, or pointing out that you forgot to spend your gold. They're meant as literal reminders to let you know what was unique about each adventure. While they only show up at the end of a run for now, they will appear in your run history and stats later on. This is part of a series of upcoming changes to make runs feel distinct and improve scoring, and more on that later. In terms of visual changes, there are some new art additions for various cards and a few enemies, as well as some cool new VFX for afflictions. So when you get like statuses from your enemies, I guess this is ringing, this is bound. No, this is the extra cost, I think. Anyway, they are now, little bit more cool than they were before. Then, the most important change here, it is that they reworked Ascension 6. So previously it was Gloom, which gave you one less rest site per act. It was kind of a nothing burger, the least impactful Ascension for sure. And it has been changed into Inflation. So removing cards from your deck at the merchant is more expensive. And it is not just more expensive, it is double the price and it scales double as fast. So previously it was 50 gold, now it's 100 gold, and the next time you do it it's 150 gold and 200 gold and 250 gold. So removing at the shop is going to be very expensive and definitely not very viable above Ascension 6. And yeah, that does make sense because removing the cards was kind of like an instant pick. Like you go into the shop and you see, damn, that's a pretty good relic. Damn, that's a pretty good card, but I could have a one less strike right now and I feel like that's probably better. So yeah, now that's going to be more expensive and you need to make some more decisions. Yeah, it's a very big change. And I also like that they removed Gloom, because I like having the rest sites, because that lets me upgrade my cards. And being like super strong and greedy is kind of what I like to do in this game. Usually I go full greed, I die doing it, or I win doing it, so just makes my playstyle a little bit more satisfying, I guess. And next up, Silent. We've got a reworked card here. So the Blade of Ink. This was a rare card that cost 1, and this turn whenever you play an attack, gain 2 or 3 strength this turn. This was a very situational Civ card that you took sometimes, but it never felt that good. Now this new change, it's definitely good. If I go into what it does, rare, cost 1 skill, add 2 or 3 inky civs into your hand. And the inky enchantment with this card is, this card deals 2 additional damage and applies 1 weak. So when you add 3 inky civs, you're actually doing 4 plus 2 times 3, so this is 18 damage, and applying 3 weak separately as well. So this is one of the best Civ cards now, and imagine a knife trap when you play this and then a knife trap, you can get 6 weak on an enemy. Like knife traps just got indirectly even better than it was before. These are better Civs without the upgrade, which is the like ideal. So yeah, this is very interesting change, I think. The Blade of Ink rework is an experiment with generating enchanted cards mid-combat. Definitely let us know how this feels, or if enchantments are best left to things like events and relics. I suspect this card will be high impact and gives Silent another weak applier. So I for one am very excited to try the Blade of Ink in my games. I think this is a very interesting change. The previous version was basically useless. Now the new version is always going to be good. And just like a generally good card as well. Another change I really like here is a Necrobinder. Reworked Borrowed Time. So this was the uncommon that cost 0 and it applied 3 doom and you gained 1 or 2 energy. Now the reworked version costs 1, so this is a bit similar to the prepared change. But you gain 4 or 6 energy, and cards cost an additional energy this turn. So this is a very interesting card, because you can do stuff with something like Bury, the 4 cost card that deals 52 damage, or maybe like the Scythe or whatever else. You know, higher cost cards that you want to cheat out, you can cheat them out with the borrowed time. And it still works with the smaller cost stuff, because you can just avoid using this while you've got the smaller cost stuff in your hand, you know? I'm really excited to see how this works, the borrowed time. This is another really welcome change. This new borrowed time should go particularly well with the high cost cards like Reap and Bury, and help to flesh out other ways to play Necrobinder. And I think that is very welcome, although I already liked the other ways to play Necrobinder, to be honest. This just helps it out, you know. Next up, the Doormaker is getting another buff. Reworked Doormaker Grasp turn and power now attacks for 20 or 23 on Ascension 9, and the power is reworked to whenever you play a card, lose 1 energy. So you can still play like a 3 cost card and then you lose 1 energy after. That is nice. But this is now really hard, this boss. The first turn, you exhaust your combo pieces if you want to play them. The second turn, you cannot draw, so you cannot do your combo piece. And on the third turn, you cannot play your combo because it costs extra energy. So for a combo deck, Doormaker is just like an instant loss, I think. It needs to be like an extremely strong deck for this to like not completely ruin you, I think. Or maybe like Exhaust Ironclad could be pretty happy in this situation. Outside of those, I don't know how you would like deal with this guy. Yeah, Doormaker is already, I think, by far the strongest enemy in the game. And it's just going to be even more terrifying now. Even when I've gone into him like with a deck that's like theoretically really good against him, with like really efficient like card generation and like hologram to like cheat out the... You can still draw, by the way, from your discard pile with hologram and the Necrobinder card and stuff like that. Draw from your discard pile, not from the draw pile. That is how it works. The second turn of Doormaker. Anyway, yeah, I think this is going to be terrifying, this enemy now. Because previously it was just like cost 1 extra energy at the start of your turn, and then you can do whatever. This new version is terrifying. Then next up, some balance changes for the Silent. First up, buffed Leading Strike. Sieves increased from 1 to 2, so, and damage increased from 7 to 3. So the base damage from this card is the same still. But the extra CV means that it gets more synergies, and this card is going to feel a lot better to play. It also does 3 instances of damage, which is usually better, strength and stuff like that. And next up, Speedster. So Speedster is getting nerfed, which is a bit sad because it was already kinda bad if you were not doing Sly stuff. I mean, there's no real reason to pick this card if you weren't doing Sly stuff. But now it is like extra bad. Like, what are you gonna do with this? Damage decreased from 2-3 to 1-2. Upgraded 2 damage per card drawn. AoE. Like, why would you ever play this? Why would you spend 2 energy to set this up when you could do something like Corrosive Wave or... I mean, there's also even Serpent Form. I feel like Serpent Form at this point would be better. At 1 more energy it does way more. And then nerfed Untouchable. So block decreased from 7-9 to 6-8. Untouchable is very OP. It was still very OP. With the nerf, it was like already giga nerfed. I think before the upgrade gave you 12 block. Now it is going to give you 8 block. And it's still going to be really good, because you just play it for free. So you don't care about the fact that it costs 2. So if you like force play it now, it's going to be bad. Like really bad. But if you just play it with a Sly, you're still very happy with it. Next up, changed History Cause Relic. When it plays a copy of an X cost card, it now uses your current energy for its X value, instead of the energy spent the last time the card was played. Note, it still plays the copy for free. So this is definitely a buff, because the X cost cards before did not really work very well with the history cards. I guess now they can get like the full X value, Obviously it's a negative synergy in some very niche situations, like you somehow get 20 energy to play your X cost card, like the history course is going to play it for like 3 or 4 energy or whatever. So that's going to be nerfed, but in most cases it's going to be better with X cost stuff, because it's going to play it for 3 energy instead of like 1. Next up, buffed Skulking Colony. Now attacks on all turns and deals slightly more damage. Skulking Colony, the version on the PBE, or rather the beta branch. I don't think I've ever struggled. I think it was overwhelmingly the weakest elite after the nerfs. After the buffs, now it is going to again be like decent. It's kind of funny how they made it from the weakest elite, or one of the weakest elites, to the strongest elite by far, to the weakest elite by far, to now maybe it is in the middle. Maybe they've got the balance down a bit better. I think they like over-nerfed and over-buffed it, you know. Next up, Nonu Pape's Fur Coat Relic. Now affects restocked X-bots and other enemies that enter combat during a fight. I don't remember what the Fur Coat does. Fur Coat. That is the relic that marks 7, or marks some combats, and makes them not deal damage to you. So the Fur Coat now works with the X-bots. That's just like, seems like it just makes sense. And other enemies, so I guess it works with the Fabricator as well. Nerfed Hungry for Mushrooms. So this is the one where you can gain 20 max HP but draw 2 less cards at combat start, or upgrade 3 cards with 15 health cost. So now it is going to upgrade 2 cards for 15 HP. Still pretty decent. I wouldn't hate it. Then Waterlogged Scriptorium. This makes sense, it was really hard to get the second option. So this is the one that gives you retain on your cards. So the Prickly Sponge, which gave you the option to add retain to 2 cards in your deck. Now it is going to cost you 60 gold less, or I guess 56 gold less. And the Tentacle Kill, which added retain to 1 card, is going to cost 10 gold less. That's very nice. Yeah, I like this change. This event was hard to use before, but very satisfying when you got to hit it. For example, I've gotten the defect with turbo with it, like upgraded turbo and then like the meteor strike. That was a very nice combo. I also got another one on the defect. It was the cannon that exhausts your statuses. So if you draw the cannon early, it would work very well. Another one would be very nice with all for one. Yeah, so this is just a really nice event, so it's nice that you can use it now, because usually you had to just skip it and be kinda sad. Next up, Whispering Hollow event. Exchange option gold cost decreased from 50 to 35 plus minus 9. I don't know what this does really. Then some art, user interference. Disabled chest skipping in multiplayer. Too many people thought it was the proceed button. I feel like this is a definition of a skill issue. But yeah, makes sense, sir. Oh, my bad. Alright. Some random changes in wording. Some better translations. Random crashes. Soft lock. Alright, fixed bullet time. A card getting played by Mayhem Power, not setting the cost of cards in your hand to 0. Interesting. Good. Potions and relics. Fixed unsettling lamp. Relic doubling the strength from your dominate card. Sounds like an interesting interaction. Alright. If a potion is discarded just before combat ends, it is no longer forever unusable. I don't know how this works. I need to see this how it works. Yeah, properly says throw instead of drink. Okay, whatever. Few enemies' damage intents were occasionally showing the wrong number. Fixed. Interesting. Removed broken text from Thieving Hopper. Fixed Soul Nexus animation not playing correctly. I want to see how the animation is going to look like. Removed peak button. Events. Yeah, Whispering Earring. Vaku's Whispering Earring relic continuing to play cards after Void Form of Power ended the turn. I feel like this is a nerf. Would have been kinda aura if the Vaku just ignored the void form, because you know Vaku isn't the player, so why would he stop? I feel like they should bring this back. I feel like Vaku, like having the aura just continuing to play anyway, would be cooler. Effects that occur before your turn now interact correctly with Vaku's Whispering Earring relic. Oh, this is because some relics were breaking Vaku and you could just play the cards yourself. So yeah, that needed to be changed because it was a bit too strong. Situationally. I don't know what the peak button is. Fixed being able to end the Lord's Parasol purchase animation on controller. So I guess you could just like stop buying midway. Trash to treasure. Power no longer procs from other players' generated statuses. Soft lock. State divergence. This was really annoying to get, by the way. I got it a lot with my brother. Like in one run I think it gave me like 5 different state divergences and kicked me out. So yeah, that's really nice that they changed this. Player name is now correctly displayed, okay. Re-entering the multiplayer host screen, the Ascension is now completely synced. You can now reload after saving a game at a rewards screen with non-standard rewards. None of this is that big, but the buffs here is interesting. I want to try the new Silent. It got 2 different changes for the Blade of Ink and the Leading Strike. So very big Civ buffs here. Which is fair because the Civs were, if you just took Civs alone, it was really rough. You needed to get some more choice out of your deck besides those. So yeah, I really like this change. I wanna try it out. What do you guys think of the changes here? Gonna be dropping some videos on them soon. You know, eventually my videos on this will come out after my old recordings are released. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.